a bit daunting putting cameras and lights and microphones in front of you, as I'm sure the listener will agree with as well. But this is one of the challenges and the hurdles, I suppose, that we want to help people with.
So, though, Alex, why should people even bother wanting to make better, more effective video?
Good question. Creating and publishing video content for your business has never been easier. But let's be honest, most people are doing a rubbish job of it. In a digital world bursting at the seams with low quality, boring and overly salesy content, one filmmaker from the northeast of England decided enough was enough. Join Alex Wardle and his special guests as they discuss how to create truly effective video and start connecting with your audience on a much deeper level. Welcome to the Grow Your Business with Video podcast. Hello and welcome to the Grow Your Business with Video podcast. This is the show for business owners and marketers who want to create more effective video. Effective video is all about telling stories, and it's those stories that are going to help you to sell to more of your ideal clients and customers. My name's Alex Wardle, I'm your host, I'm head of production at Artifact Media, and I am joined today by our production assistant at Artifact Media, my lovely co-host, Naomi Watson. How's it going, Naomi?
It's going okay, yeah.
Just okay.
It's just quite strange being here sat in this scenario.
Yeah, this is our first foray into podcasting, although not my first, admittedly. I've been the co-host of 2 podcasts before with one of my clients, Dom Hodgson, so I kind of have no excuse. But this is still a little bit strange, isn't it? You know, it's a bit daunting putting cameras and lights and microphones in front of you, as I'm sure the listener will agree with as well. But this is one of the challenges and the hurdles, I suppose, that we want to help people with. You know, confidence on camera is a big obstacle that's getting in the way of people making more video content. It's just one of the many obstacles that's out there, even though video is easier and cheaper to produce than ever before. But this is the type of thing that we want to help you with on this podcast.
So, though, Alex.
Yes.
Why should people even bother wanting to make better, more effective video?
Good question. Because after all, as we've kind of alluded to, video it's very difficult. It's very technical by its very nature. You have to know, the ins and outs, at least to some degree, of cameras, lighting, lenses, how to get good sound. Then there's the whole thing of editing, if you want to even get involved in editing. Live video is now a thing, but that's like the ultimate test of like getting things right first time. There's no second chances with it. There's a lot of prerequisites to video. But why should you want to make more effective video content? Well, I think it's one of, if not the best ways of your audience being able to get to know you. It's all well and good having, even if you've got a thriving business at the moment and you're doing really well, and you've got a great website and you've got social media presence, and perhaps you're doing offline marketing as well, which is probably something else that we should talk about on this podcast, even though we're mainly going to be speaking about the online stuff. It's important to have a blend of both, but we'll save that for another time. So perhaps you've got all those things in place anyway. Well, if you don't have any video content, and by that I'm specifically kind of talking about you yourself being on the camera, or someone from your company, or a team or whoever, if you haven't got any faces in front of the camera, I think it's really hard for people to actually get to know you and to have any sense of like connection there. Yeah. And I mean, the whole idea of like a faceless company is a bit of a cliche now, isn't it? And there are droves of examples of companies who are doing probably okay, but there's no like human connection there. They don't have any figureheads who are representing the company as a whole, and they're not capitalizing on using people's personalities to differentiate themselves from others. And I think that's a really missed trick, a missed opportunity, because personality is one of the only things that is going to differentiate you from the competition. Every industry out there has competition, has people who are ultimately doing the same thing. And I'm sure you, dear listener, are probably thinking, well, I'm different in my industry because I do X, Y, Z. And I'm sure that's true. But the real question is, do your customers know that? Do your prospective customers know that?
Have you told them enough times? Because people don't remember something just from that once.
Yeah, exactly. And the medium here is the key thing, isn't it? That what we're talking about. You could write down. You could make like a written advert, or you could do like a Facebook advert, or something in text form saying these are all the reasons why I'm better than the competition. But by and large, that's not going to be anywhere near as effective as getting something on film and putting yourself on film and kind of going through that whole process. And this is obviously very much easier said than done. And it's definitely not just a case of, pressing record on a camera and saying, "Hi, I'm Alex and I make better videos than the guy down the street," because people aren't going to care, they're not going to believe you. So the whole idea here is to lead your customers and your prospective customers through the know, like, and trust process. Because ultimately, if you work backwards through that, if you don't trust someone, you're not gonna buy from them. You're not gonna feel like that they're trustworthy enough to take your money, basically. But you're not gonna get to that stage unless you already know that you kind of like this person or this company, and that you feel like you're gonna get something back from them, and then working backwards again, where you're not even going to get to that stage unless they know you, unless they know enough about you to even consider you as an option. So that's why I think more business owners and marketers need to be using video more, because it's such a powerful tool. And as we'll allude to in future episodes, really it's such a creative way of marketing your business as well, and there are like unlimited possibilities, different ways that you can use single videos and series of videos and in different formats on different platforms, which is really exciting. I think we're at an exciting time in terms of marketing and technology now, where these types of things are possible for pretty much everyone. But it's a bit of a minefield, so that's the type of thing that we're going to be helping the dear listener out with.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And my little bit of input as well. I know it is a little bit cliche to say people, it's true though, people buy people and not products. And that's because of that know, like, and trust system, because you've really gotten to know and understand and have a better feeling for that person. And you get that through, seeing faces in the brand and knowing stories, and a little psychology segue, because I'm a psychology student.
Yes, you can provide a lot of value to us in that respect, I think, yeah.
When we're babies and we're growing up and we're developing, so a part of pure evidence in developmental psychology is that we learn our attachment literally through faces, facial expressions. It's like its own language, and that's what we come to like learn to know and like and trust and like love something. It's through faces. So any medium you're using to sell your to sell your products to, people want to see people's faces and humans interacting and using that product, because at the end of the day, they want to know how it's going to benefit them, and if they can see it benefiting other humans and other people, then they're going to see like how it can also benefit them.
That's a really interesting point, actually, and we didn't actually plan for that. We haven't wrote that down in our notes, our pre-show recording notes. So a bit of a curveball there, Naomi. But no, I love that. I think that's a really powerful kind of concept, and I think kind of segueing from that as well is the emotive side of using video, and how emotion can be quite a powerful, probably the most powerful factor, really, and kind of tool ultimately that is at your disposal as a marketer. If you make films which are emotive and that play on certain emotions and try and make the viewer feel a particular way, rather than just giving them cold hard facts and again just saying, this is why I'm awesome, it's going to perform so much better. It can be sometimes difficult to measure in a way, because if you've got a suite, like a backlog of video content that's out there doing various jobs, which is something we'll talk about in a future episode as well, different types of videos doing different things. Well, ideally, you're going to have a mix of these, aren't you? Because if you think about it, and I know there's a psychology concept behind this as well, which you might input on, but, you know, we need to be appealing to both the emotive side of people, of psychology, and also the more rational, logical side as well. Because it takes both of those kind of sides of your brain, I suppose, to make a decision about something and to decide whether you're going to buy something or not, or whether you're going to sign up for something or whatever. You know, you've got again, you can give people all the facts as much as you want all day, and you probably will get some customers that way. But if you can put some emotion in there as well, well, that's going to appeal to perhaps a more primitive side of their brain.
It depends on the timing. Like, your customer might be coming in viewing your business or product when they have their like rational side of the brain switched on, or they might have the emotive side of the brain switched on. It literally might depend in that moment, and you might not sell. If you're doing an emotive piece and they don't have that part of their brain switched on, you know, they might not be interested, might not want to listen to it. But then that's why you've got to do a little bit of variation in your content. Like, have that emotional part, have the factual bits, and like, you know, don't just like, you know, share something. Share this piece of information, or product or story, on a number of occasions in a number of ways, because, you know, the potential customer is going to need to hear different sides of the story to, you know, weigh up their argument of, like, you know, whether or not they're gonna continue wanting to engage with you or get more, you know, products or content, etc. from you.
No, absolutely. Yeah, it does. Again, I think we're touching on a lot of subjects here, which we can delve like a lot deeper into in future episodes. But this is the type of thing that this show I wanted to be about. Video can have this like really steep learning curve, and it can seem like it has a really high barrier to entry. And I hope we're not putting the listener off by talking about these grand concepts of like I'm sure there's people listening who are thinking, well, I don't particularly have a business which has like an emotional element to it. Like, perhaps they think it's like cold and it's just a product that does what it says on the tin, and it doesn't kind of warrant any of that content. But I think in 99% of cases I would probably disagree. And I've certainly learnt that through experience. You know, the past few years when we've been running the video production business, there are a lot of people we've worked with who, you know, injecting a bit of emotion and a bit of personality and a bit of storytelling into their content has worked wonders, you know? And I mean, just to kind of segue a little story about, we'll round off this pilot episode with this, a little story about kind of my background and why I feel really passionately about creating what we would now define, I suppose, as effective video, which is video that is designed with a specific purpose in mind, and that is designed to do something for the viewer, to bring them something in the way of value, be it emotional, be it, you know, something that they can take away, rather than just having this like really narrow-minded approach of thinking, okay, well, how can I sell this? You know, how can I promote my business? Oh, I'll do some video. I think that's the wrong attitude to have, and we need to kind of reverse engineer it. But basically, once I started getting my video production business, Artifact Media, off the ground a few years ago, I was contracted by a company to make videos for them on like a recurring basis. And a couple of days a week, I would go out and film for their clients. So they had hundreds of clients up and down the country, and they would give me a brief and say, okay, you need to be here at this time and you need to film this video, come back and edit it, which sounded great at the time. Nice, consistent work and all the rest of it.
Yeah, can I just say you were very excited to get, you know, to get work. I mean, because from an entrepreneurial and self-employed point of view, like it's scary.
Yeah, this was me leaving the nest kind of thing. Yeah. This was me quitting the day job and going and doing it on my own and thinking, okay, I'm going to set up this business now. This is how it's going to go. So yeah, I thought this was going to be like the I don't know.
The bread and butter. But
Yeah, absolutely. But then, so the problem was that this company would give me the briefs for these videos, and I had absolutely no input on these whatsoever. I was just told where to go and what to film. And if we're being honest, a lot of people in my position still do this to this day. And I mean, people come to me with video ideas now and say, "Can you make this?" And I say, "Yes," and I go and do it. But the difference is now that I've learned a lot over the past few years, and I weigh in on it, and I think, okay, is this the best video that we could be creating? And as I say, the problem was back then that these videos were just all about selling more or promoting the business, and they had this like really, like I say, tunnel vision approach of like, okay, well, what do we need to promote? Well, we've got these products and we've got these services, so what shall we do? We'll make a video and we'll talk about said products and services, and that's kind of it. And it never really got any more in depth than that. And I was only there for a couple of weeks before I was thinking, and I was saying to you, no one's going to watch these videos. No one's going to care. Who is going to give two hoots about this type of video,
This bridge
Yeah.
that had been built.
Well, but there's ways to make that interesting, which we've done since, incidentally, with other people. But at the time, it was literally just like, it was like, look how awesome we are, come and buy our stuff. That is the level of creative it got. So it didn't take long for me to kind of be like, this is wrong, this, I hate the fact that I'm putting so much of my time and energy into something that I know isn't going to get received by many people. And I could have been paid any amount of money, and it could have been as secure as you like, but it didn't sit right. So I thought, nah, I'm done with this. I'm going to go elsewhere and kind of do it myself. And the rest is history, really. So I think to kind of round off this episode, I would urge you, dear listener, to have a little think before you listen to the next episode, where we'll delve into a specific subject a bit more deeply, about what are you doing at the moment with regards video in your business and video in your marketing. And is there some way, are you putting your personality in there? Are you making it really easy for people to get to know, like, and trust you? It's probably one of the hardest, most difficult things to do in business is to put yourself in your customer's shoes, I think, because we're so tied to our own success, and we're too close to it to kind of see it objectively, because you've got this emotional attachment to it. But try your best and think, okay, if I was a fresh-faced person who'd never heard of this business before, what would I think of it? Would I think that it looks professional and high quality and it looks premium or whatever? Or would I think, actually, I'm not really being given the opportunity to get to know the people or the person behind this business? As I say, it's a bit of a difficult exercise to do, and it can be a bit crushing as well. But that's what I would I would urge you to do that before the next episode. But hopefully that gives you a bit of an introduction into this podcast and the types of things we'll be talking about. As we go on, as I say, we'll be delving more deeply into all the different aspects of video, be it the technical production side, because there's a lot of tips I think that we can give people that they can immediately take away, start putting into practice so they can create more high quality videos with the equipment they've got.
Yeah, and feel good about it as well.
Absolutely, yeah. And
enjoy it.
Yeah, too right. And on that note, being more confident on camera, showing up as more of yourself, getting more comfortable with the big red scary light being on. And some of, I think as well, things that I feel really passionate about are kind of bigger concepts about marketing and about business, so things like premium pricing and premier positioning, differentiating yourself from the competition, and putting your personality and your character into everything that you do that is customer facing. I think this will be really valuable for us to talk about. So, yeah. So, any final thoughts, Naomi, before we round off this pilot episode?
I think you need to remember the simple podcast rules and just remind people to subscribe to this podcast so that they actually know when there's a new episode, so they know when they can get more new information that will be valuable to them. Where's the podcast going to be available? Tell me again.
Wherever you get your podcasts, so iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, all of that stuff. Yeah.
And actually, we are videoing it.
We are.
So
as we
it's going to be on YouTube as well.
It is.
I think that in itself will be a handy way for people to learn a little bit about video in general and people being on camera too, because we're not trying to be perfect and all scripted here. We're having a conversation, and that will help you as a listener or watcher go, oh, okay, they're not being all dull. Like I can be like that. I can see myself doing that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, yeah. Very good point as well. And it's like something else that we'll have to talk about in more detail, I think, because I hate auto cues. But that's another story. So yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this episode. As Naomi said, if you did, go and subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Check us out on YouTube to see the videos. We'll be putting little snippets on our Facebook page and stuff as well. But that's all for this pilot episode. Thanks, Naomi. Thank you for your time. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Grow Your Business with Video podcast, and that you're ready to take another step towards creating truly effective video. Don't forget to subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. And leave us a review so that we can help even more people. For everything else, you can find us at artifactmedia.co.uk. Thanks for listening. See you next time.